When we get together, we love to share things, so we just trade back and forth. And I will try so hard to get, some of you came up and asked me about centers and how many legally you can have in a classroom. There are a lot of questions to be asked, so I'm going to go back tonight and try to get some information on my centers and how we use morning meetings.
One thing we can do, we can make a copy of pre-K standards that MPSA have. Does that help some of you?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
That's what you are required to have. Okay.
Sure.
These are that come directly from the accrediting manual. So I think between Don and myself, we'll just copy that section for everybody because it probably could be helpful for everyone. Now, some of you are duly accredited by SACS or some other accrediting entity, but it would help maybe to have MPSA.
If you are questioning yourself about something or not sure about developmentally appropriate stages for children, ask somebody. Don't just take a group of children. You are not a babysitter. You are not a babysitter in the morning. You are qualified preschool teachers that have a wonderful gift, and you have little sponges that if you knew which direction to go, you could take them really far. So just ask questions. Ask questions. Also, Loretta is colorful. I love Loretta. And she comes to MRA every January, and she trains us for CPR. If you do not have your CPR certification, you need to get it. Somebody in your school needs to be CPR certified that is very close to small children. If you do not, you are liable. If a child should die at school, get choked on something, or if they fall on the playground, or if they're, I don't know what the official word, salt losers, and they break a bone on the playground and they die, you are liable if you do not have anybody there that is CPR certified. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about playground issues and all of that, because playground is a huge liability for us. That's where our liability is. And if you ever want to go through something, going through court of people suing you, you're going to find out about it tomorrow. And we have had Ann Sanders, has represented MPSA and is a friend of Derek for years, that come and talk to us about a huge lawsuit that happened, and they ended up settling. So watching the children on the playground, but we'll get into that tomorrow. But Loretta is here. She trains us every January, like I said, CPR. We have one coach that comes down and does it. But ask your principal. You should go for certification. If not, you should get somebody through a Red Cross or somebody to certify you in CPR or in your grade level. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Loretta, and she kind of helps you with bubos. So I will give it to Loretta.
Worth your energy right now. Let's wait. If you like it later, you can try that. Okay. All right. I don't expect that, by the way. Okay. This is an awful good group of women. Good group of women. Good looking group of women. Is that better? Can you tell I've had 4 grandsons at my house?
Hold on, Loretta. Here you go.
I'm not a podium person, y'all. I apologize for that. Start out my conversation screaming at you. Yesterday, I had my 4-year-old and my 8-year-old, and we only had 3 minor accidents. Okay? We had a cut finger that required some antibiotic ointment and a bobo cover. That's why she's laughing at me, okay? And then the same child, this is the 4-year-old again, missed a step going out the back door and scraped his knee, and all I could hear was a blood-curdling scream. I broke my leg! And I started crying, okay? All right, and then the third thing was he was coming down the stairs from upstairs, and he missed the bottom 2 steps. And so, immediately I'm thinking, oh, Lord, please don't. I don't want to have a broken neck this afternoon, because then what will his mother say? Okay? And, y'all are surrogate mothers. You know that already? You're some of the best people that I know, by the way. I could not do your job. And I admire you for getting up at 5:30 in the morning and going to school and listening to what, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, all day long. And they are a gift from God. They are a gift from God. But yesterday, I had a conversation with God about 3 o'clock. I had heard my name so many times, I thought, please, can I just change my name from Mimi to Joanne? All right, so let's get to the meat of this conversation that we're having. Y'all, I move around, and if I accidentally pull this out, then somebody can fix it, I hope, okay? And I may do it. Asthma is one thing that y'all gonna see more and more and more of. And I think some of it is due to the pollutants that we have in our environment now. Some of these kids are coming to you from smoke-filled homes and environments. And I can't tell you how important that is, but as an instructor, most of the time, I can get across to parents that they don't need to be smoking. But, I think they poo-poo it 98% of the time, and they go back to their home and they start smoking again. You can tell when these kids come to school that they've been in a car with smoke. Well, if they have asthma, that's going to increase the severity of their problems. And you won't see so much asthma during the summer unless these kids exert too much or get too hot. Generally, when you see asthma, it's during the colder months when they develop a cold and then bronchitis. How many of you have ever heard of wheeze, by the way? Most everybody in here. Those of you that didn't raise your hand, that may be because you've never had an opportunity to work with a child with asthma. But if you ever do, and you want to hear a wheeze, get somebody that raised their hand if they're local people by you, because it's different than that rattly sound you hear up here in the neck, which a lot of parents sometimes interpret that. I've actually had to teach, one of my daughters is a nurse, so she knew how to listen to breath sounds. The other one, I don't know what she does for a living anymore, okay? She changes jobs. No, I'm just teasing. She is a beautician, okay? And so she's around a lot of toxins in the air all day long, and I don't know how she doesn't have it, but I think somehow she transferred it to her 2 sons. So I have 3 children. By the way, we're all breastfed, but they ended up with asthma, okay? So the issue with them is when they get the bronchitis, then they have to have the breathing treatments with the little machine and the little mask. And if they have that breathing treatment before they come into your threshold, they're gonna be wired. And you might take that little extra dose of patience that morning. I know y'all need a lot, but these children don't understand why their heart's racing, particularly if they've had some steroid. Their heart's beating and they're just, like they're coming out of their skin, okay? So just understand that that's part of the sequelae from the treatment plan in itself, okay? If we stop the cold, then we're better off. But how do you stop a cold? We can't even find a cure for a cold. But hopefully hand washing will help with that, and we'll get down to that in a little bit later, okay? The biggest thing that you're going to see is those abrasions and cuts like I saw yesterday. Now, in your first aid kit, you should have some Band-Aids, right? And some antibiotic ointment. The problem that we encounter is that most children are used to triple antibiotic ointment these days, which has like 3 antibiotics in it. It really doesn't make it any better, but it's okay to use. But we've recognized that a lot of children are now allergic to neosporin, which is one of those 3 pieces or parts.